Next 4 years, I'm going to Stanford University.
Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977. Now, here's D Squared.
Welcome everyone to the Thursday edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared, Drew DeArmond, and we look forward to the show today. We got a special guest that's going to hopefully get a chance to join us. I know we've had some phone issues today. We apologize for that. We took a lightning strike. It does happen, but Bandy has been resourceful. Steve Moulton, our good friend Chad Guathney, all trying to keep us afloat here. Scott Theisen did a great job, my co-host, during Talkin Ball this morning on our sister station, ESPN 97.7 The Zone, keeping us afloat and getting our guests on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Sorry we couldn't get to any of our callers today, but again, we just it's one of those situations where we just have to kind of, keep up, keep it afloat and adjust on the fly, and we did a great job of that today, and we had two great guests on our morning show on our sister station. Of course, we had Adam Ryberg live from the Masters, giving us a little bit of a preview. The Masters is underway. It's going to be a big topic, going to wrap up on Easter Sunday, so we're really looking forward to that, no question about it. And Tiger Woods is going to tee off in just a few minutes. I think about 15 minutes. He will be on the course for his opening round of the Masters, and as he said earlier this week, doesn't know how many more he's got left in him, so it's great to have him back out on the course as he has recovered from his car accident, and he's had, as we know, the severe injuries that he's had to overcome. So it's been great to see Tiger back out on the course. He was there last year as well, so getting ready for him. McLean, the Irishman, I think had a one-stroke lead as we were coming on here, so the Masters is underway. We'll talk more Masters on Talkin Ball tomorrow with our golf analyst Charlie Plott, so please tune in for that. And to do so, don't forget to download our app, both the ESPN 97.7 The Zone app for our sister station at the Google Store, the Apple Store. So many of you have, but if you have not, please do so, because there's going to be Alabama baseball on tonight as well as they take on Mississippi State. This series, weather permitting, is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday to avoid Easter Sunday. So it could be that Alabama, there could be a schedule change, though. Friday's weather does not look good. Alabama's supposed to have a football scrimmage as well, so we'll see if that gets pushed back and what happens with it. But it looks like that baseball, there could be 2 7-inning games on Saturday, potentially. Nothing has been decided yet. Certainly Alabama hopeful to get in the first game tonight against Mississippi State, and then you could see some schedule changes going forward. No doubt about it, but it looks like the rain could affect the Masters, on Friday and Saturday as well. So weather is going to play a big part in this Easter weekend, no question about it. But we do hope all of our listeners have a great Easter weekend with faith and family and our friends, and certainly we wish you nothing but the best, and we appreciate you supporting our streaming channel. We've been going strong since late July, and now we have a great new partner. We want you to check out Alumni Hall at the Bridge Street Town Center, just down from the Apple Store. Please, if you're headed to the 8A game, hopefully they'll have good weather on the plains of Auburn this Saturday at 1 o'clock. If you need your Auburn gear, your tailgate gear, everything, your tailgate stuff, your cornhole, anything, go ahead and check out Alumni Hall here in the Rocket City out at Bridge Street for all of your Auburn gear for the spring game this weekend, and in 2 weeks for Alabama. A lot of new gear hitting the shelves, and go ahead and gear up whether you're an Alabama fan or you're an Auburn fan at Alumni Hall, and they have their Hall Rewards program. For every $150 you spend, you get 10 free bucks to spend within the store, and you can stack those. You don't have to spend them every time you get the Hall Pass reward. You can continue to accumulate them. I've used 4 and 5 at one time as I was a frequent shopper there. So again, Alumni Hall is a great place to go if you're an Alabama or an Auburn fan, and they have alumnihall.com as well. Have an outstanding website where they can help you out. There's Father's Day coming up, Mother's Day as well. A lot of things going on where you're going to be taking care of those loved ones. So, and you can do that at Alumni Hall, and we appreciate their sponsorship here on the Blitz Sports Radio, no question about that. But also a big topic continues to be spring football as the University of Alabama and others around the Southeastern Conference can continue to go strong. Alabama had a couple of young men meet the media yesterday, as we heard from Ja'Cory Brooks, who, of course, is going to be a big part of this offense under new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, no doubt about that. And also we heard from Darian Dalcourt. Darian Dalcourt is a fifth-year guy who is using his COVID season to come back and spend another year at the University of Alabama. He has been a starter in the past at the center spot, was injured for much of last year, but he has come back. Could get one of the nods at the guard spot, because I think Seth McLaughlin is probably the favorite at center, though you can't discount Dalcourt. He will still compete at center, and his strength as a player is being able to, I think, play either guard spot or center, so he could be very valuable if someone gets banged up, or he may win a starting job. I would say if you penciled him in, it would be at right guard. I think Tyler Booker probably is the leader in the clubhouse at left, but both those young guys spoke to the media yesterday, and of course, as we said, Ja'Cory Brooks going into his draft year as a junior, and he's done a remarkable job at wide receiver. I thought he was the most consistent wide receiver last year for the University of Alabama. He was always there for Bryce Young, always in the right spot, especially on clutch downs. He reminds me a lot of John Mechie, probably not as explosive. Hopefully he can have a bigger year this year. Hopefully the passing game, I know with Bryce it was still really good, but hopefully the running game wasn't quite up to snuff. If this football team's identity is physicality and running the football, hopefully it'll set up some vertical opportunities and some explosive opportunities for a guy like Ja'Cory Brooks, who I think has a chance to have a really nice year for the University of Alabama in his junior season. Now, could he move on to the NFL? Potentially, or he may end up being a four-year guy. But again, he's very, very solid. Since he got on campus, he's had the right mindset and work ethic. He first started earning the trust of the coaching staff as a special team standout, kick blocker, a guy who was a gunner, did a great job. And then, of course, by the end of the year, as you all remember, in 2021, the play he made in the Iron Bowl, the touchdown catch, he became a big part of the offense in the postseason, and since then has been a regular in the lineup, and if you remember, had some really clutch plays down the stretch to win in Austin, Texas last year. So Ja'Cory Brooks, under new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, and with whoever takes the snaps behind center at Alabama, it's going to be a quarterback battle between Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. Ja'Cory Brooks is going to be a very important part of that passing game, and he spoke to the media yesterday.
Hey, Ja'Cory, over here. Malik Benson, what stood out to you so far about him since joining the team?
I've been loving his energy, man, since he came in, since bowl game. He's been coming in, working, bringing in positive energy. You know, always want that leadership quality. So I've been liking his energy so far.
Over here, Steven.
Ja'Cory, what have you seen from like the younger defensive backs in practice going up against them so far?
All of them got our receivers working hard. We competing very, very hard in practice. So like, it's tough out there for us, I can say.
Over here, Kelly.
Hey, Ja'Cory. Jermaine Burton decided to come back for another year. How big is it for you guys to have him back this year?
It's big because he was a big part of our team last year. I'm kind of glad he came back. He made a decision for himself, you know. But you know that when we come back, well, not even when we come back, we come back for something. You know, we come back to work, come back to take what we had in store for us. So,
Over here, Charlie.
Hey, Ja'Cory. Now that you're one of the older guys in the wide receiver room, just what is that like, and how have you tried to kind of bring some of those young guys along?
Really, it's pretty much the same thing that it's been since I got here, becoming a leader and telling you guys how this receiver room work and how the offense work, you know, how to come in to work and become a player, the best player you can be for the whole team.
Over here, James.
Ja'Cory, what have you seen out of Ty Simpson so far this spring?
I've seen a lot of improvement from him. Also, both quarterbacks, they both competing and hard working, you know, and they getting it done.
Over here, Mike.
You have a new coordinator this year. Just how much is carried over from last year? How much is new with the offense that you've seen?
I wouldn't say too much is new, but it's a lot different. I say he's more, you know, young, got a little more swag on him, so, you know, everything is like a little more related.
Front here with Tony.
You've had Bryce as a quarterback to kind of build a connection with the last 2 years. Do you take extra time to make sure that you're building a connection or chemistry with both quarterbacks this spring? How does that work?
Yeah, we always take extra time to build with all of them, and not even just for the first two, but every quarterback that we got, you know, we got to get the chemistry. Never know who name could be called.
Over here in the green.
Improvement-wise, personally for your game, is there anything you're looking to work on this spring ahead of the season?
Yeah, I'm willing to build on everything. To be honest, my catch radius, acceleration, route running speed, everything.
Over here, Charlie.
You guys been at the same time, or the same class with Jalen over. Just how do you see him grow over the course of his career?
I've always seen Jalen develop ever since we got here together. He's trying to become a leader. He's becoming a leader more on the team. You know, he's just stepping up big time for us, making some good reads out there in practice and always competing.
Over here, Tony.
What does it take to make a good slot receiver, and who on the team do you feel like kind of like has those qualities?
I say it take one thing. I want to say it takes speed. You know, I ain't gonna cut that away from nobody, but speed in the slot. But another thing is hard. But every slot that we got now, all of them was competing, working hard. So really, it's up for debate.
Over here, Mike.
What's it been like playing against Kool-Aid? Obviously, there was that video that kind of made its way around Twitter. How many people kind of hit you up about that video, about the catch in the end zone?
Yeah, I seen the video come across my phone too. But me and Kool-Aid battle in practice every day. Like that's just he wins some with me. They just somehow we didn't just get him for the job. But that next play he caught a pick against me. But me and him, we gonna go at it every practice. Terry on also.
Right here, Tony.
Kind of sticking with that, who threw that just to confirm it, and then how many throws do you guys get like that in practice? Because that was pretty on the money.
I ain't know who threw the ball. I just seen the ball in the air.
Anything else for Corey?
That was Ja'Cory Brooks, as we said, rising junior wide receiver for the University of Alabama. That throw was actually by Jalen Milroe, from what we understand. The one that went viral in the corner of the end zone that he caught against Kool-Aid McKinstry. Did a great job getting his feet down with his body control. But as we said, also, Darian Dalcourt is going to be a big part of this offensive line. Is a senior from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland. Played for Biff Poggi, who's now the head football coach of Charlotte. Also, Biff spent 2 years, 2 stints, I should say, with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. And we've had Biff Poggi on our sister station on Talkin Ball. He did a great job developing high school players at St. Francis, including Darian Dalcourt, who spoke to the media yesterday.
All right, guys, raise your hands for Darian. Over here, Stephen.
Darian, just year 2 with Coach Eric Wolford. How have you seen him grow as an O-line coach, getting y'all to play that dominant physical style of football?
Yeah, I think the main message from Coach Wolford is getting back to that intensity, that nastiness that we've always had in the offensive line. I think in his second year, he's gotten more comfortable. We got more comfortable with him, so it's about learning from him and learning from us, and just trying to trust his word and do the best we can, bringing back that nastiness.
Over here, Joey.
Hey, Darian. This is going to be your 5th year. What went into your decision to come back for a 5th year here?
I think I had a lot left on the table, both academically, football-wise too, getting my master's this semester. So that was a big part of it. And I feel like on the field, I missed a lot of time with injuries. So I think my main reason for that was I wanted to come back, have a healthy year, and try to become the best player I could be.
Front here, Nick.
Darren, what's been the message from Coach Saban, the offensive line, kind of heading into the season?
I know the main message for us as an offense is, play disciplined football, cut down on penalties, become a disciplined team, don't shoot ourselves in the foot, stuff like that. But I know for this, specifically for the offensive line, is just listen to what the coaching is and listen to Coach Wolf and take his word for it.
Here, Charlie.
Yeah, Darren, Coach Saban said you were working both center and guards. What is it like playing both positions, and how comfortable are you kind of kicking out the guard?
Yeah, it's my first time playing guard. Of course, it comes with learning, it comes with mistakes, but you learn from those mistakes. It does nothing but add versatility to me, and also the offensive line. So whatever I can do, whatever we can do as an offensive line to become the best unit we can, I think we're all willing to do it.
Over here, Mike.
You go back a ways with Chris Braswell, go back to Baltimore. What have you seen out of him now that he has the opportunity, as well being gone?
Yeah, I know Braswell for about 6-7 years now. I know he's always special. He's always a talent. I'm just happy he's gotten a chance to showcase what he can do, and I know he's going to take full advantage of it.
Up here with Tony.
What have you seen from Miles McVay, and have you seen that clip too, of him with the one-handed pancake? And if you have, just what do you think about that?
No, I haven't seen the clip, but I think all the young guys have developed really well. Spring is a time for them to develop, for them to learn. So I think all 5 of them take advantage of it. And, they're always willing to work, always willing to listen. So I'm proud of them for that.
Here, Jay.
Darren, just what have you seen out of Ty Simpson so far this spring?
From both quarterbacks, I've seen competitiveness. I've seen them willing to take accountability. I've seen them both step up as leaders. So I think as a team, we both appreciate them both stepping forward and becoming the best players they can be.
Here in the green.
What's it been like this offseason, working with Tommy, who's kind of learning the new offense, and seeing what that's going to look like for you guys?
I've been here for a while. A lot of offensive coordinator turnover. Everyone brings a different energy, a different mentality, a different style. But I think we appreciate him coming in, teaching us some new stuff, some new wrinkles and stuff like that.
What's his style compared to some of the other guys?
What's his style?
Yeah, not like scheme or anything like that, but like how does he?
We'll see. We'll see when the season starts. I think he'll do way too much.
Over here, Charlie.
And you just said you've been here a while, so you've been through a lot of these spring scrimmages. Just going into the first one, what's important for the offense, and what kind of makes a successful one for that offense?
Yeah, when I first got here, the main thing they told us was to compete hard, give everything you can. If you make a mistake, make it full speed. So I think my message would be to, go out there, have fun, but compete as much as you can.
Up front here with Nick again.
Talked about younger guys, but Elijah Pritchett, year 1 to year 2. What have you seen from him growth-wise and kind of his approach to year 2?
Usually when people translate from freshman, younger guy to older guy, you see them step up. They get more time to treatment, more time to working out, more time to diving in the playbook. So I think that's something he's done. He's stepped up. He's taken on the role really well. I'm proud of it.
Over here, Steven again.
Darren, we got just such a stacked room of running backs. What's the most exciting thing blocking for each guy, getting each guy up and down the field?
Like you said, so many running backs, they all bring a unique perspective to it. I'm just happy to be out there in front of them blocking for them. It's a treat for me, it's a treat for all of us, but it's definitely a privilege to go out there and block and play with them for sure.
And that was Darian Dalcourt competing at both the center and guard spots. 5th-year senior, as we said, from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland. Alabama going to have their first scrimmage, weather permitting, coming up tomorrow on Friday instead of Saturday. Of course, it could get moved back to Saturday. We'll see. The weather could play a part in all of this, but certainly some buzz should be coming out of this weekend for the University of Alabama. It will be their first scrimmage of spring practice, as we said. Now it would be their 6th workout. They're 5 workouts in, as they have they certainly they scrimmaged twice, or excuse me, they practiced 3 times in opening week, and then they did hit 2 workouts last week on Tuesday and Thursday, and now this will be their 3rd week of spring practice. As we said, they got 5 workouts in starting this week, and now they've had 7 practices. This would be practice number 8. This scrimmage coming up, not scheduled to practice today, but they did hit the fields yesterday for what would have been their 7th workout, because again, they've been the schedules that Alabama's been working with is 1 week will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday. So again, now they did practice on Monday, and you heard from Nick Saban, and then on Tuesday they were off. Wednesday practice yesterday, which would have been practice number 7, and hopefully they'll have practice number 8 on Friday, which should be the first scrimmage of fall camp. But speaking of of scrimmage of spring practice number going into year 17 for Nick Saban, pardon me. But another team that's going through spring practice is LSU. We talked about Mike Scarborough, and he will join us in just a few minutes to talk some LSU Tigers. It's been a huge spring so far for LSU, and football-wise going into year 2 for Brian Kelly, but also for what we know Kim Mulkey accomplished in year 2, coming home to Louisiana, former Louisiana Tech star, but she won 3 national championships in her long tenure at Baylor. Comes back to her home state at LSU to a lot of fanfare, and it only takes 2 years before she brings the LSU program their first women's national championship in basketball. They had some outstanding Final Four teams there under the great Sue Gunner and Van Chancellor, but never won it all until Kim Mulkey came back. And so it's been a huge last few days for LSU. But Matt House, former defensive coordinator with the Kentucky Wildcats under Mark Stoops. He also worked, I believe, with the Chiefs in the NFL. He was hired by Brian Kelly and was really lauded for the job he did in year 1 side of the ball for LSU. And he spoke to the media yesterday to give everyone an update on LSU year 2, how their defense is developing under Brian Kelly before they take to the field in the fall.
How's everybody doing? So pretty happy with how spring's going as far as, just reestablishing our process, reestablishing the traits that we view as important. A lot of young guys out there getting reps, which is good for our depth going into the fall. I had some good situational work today. With that, any questions?
Matt, it seems like a big focus of the spring is getting Harold Perkins work inside. What is sort of the goal that y'all have for him at that spot? What sort of things do you want him to learn? And long term, what do you see him doing during the season itself?
Well, we know Harold has some elite ability, but he came here to learn to play linebacker and not necessarily just a hybrid. And the spring's kind of a great time to do that. You learn the techniques and fundamentals associated with playing the stack position, he's still playing out in space some, and it's just going to enhance his game and really what he came here to be.
Matt, to your left up here. Just the secondary, how good of a feel do you have for what their potential can be? Obviously, a lot of early people are playing pivotal roles right now, I guess, and how much will that change once you get to the fall?
Yeah, I think it's a process. Every day there's new growth and there's new expectations of Coach Kelly's program and what our process is for those guys and how to apply it. I'm excited about the potential of that group, but we got a long way to go.
Hey, Coach. With Javian Toviano, what sort of characteristics does he have to allow him to play the nickel and really allow him to just be a flexible piece for you guys overall? Yeah,
first of all, JT loves football and he's smart. Really, really smart player and really takes his craft serious. From an athletic standpoint, he's got great length. He's got good speed, and he can make plays on the ball.
Your first year back in the SEC, I know you were here for in the conference for several years. Just, was there anything that you learned new last year in terms of defense and just kind of how elite that they are across the conference, in these times?
Yeah, I think it kept reinforcing that it's still a line of scrimmage league, and you got to have depth in this league because there is a grind and there's a wear and tear. So there's got to be a next man up mentality, and that's why the spring's so important, to develop those techniques and fundamentals that it takes to be successful during the season.
So there's a lot of turnover from last year at defensive line, and then also that position coach leaving to go to Denver. Kind of, who do you see emerging right now in camp, being the leader of that group and getting them on the right page? Yeah, that's, the guys that are on the field right now, I'm really, really pleased with Jacobian's growth. He's doing a nice job. I'm really, really pleased with Savion's growth. And you still have Mekhi Wingo. He's at every practice. He may not be on the field. You still have Mason Smith. He's at every practice. You're not on the field. I'm excited about the potential depth of that group. There's a lot of guys that are growing, and that's exciting.
Back to the defensive line, at this point, how do you even kind of evaluate the position with so many people out?
You kind of have to go back, and in some ways, Makai played so many snaps for us. We know what he can be. Mason, I have a pretty good feel for what Mason can be because he did go through a whole training camp and a whole spring. I think what you see, too, is you get an opportunity to work with the guys that really need more reps. Not that those other guys don't, because they do, but it's the next man up, and it gives you a chance to see that growth. To me, the spring is all about setting the stage for fundamentally how you're going to approach the summer and then training camp. So I feel like we're in a good spot with our growth there right now.
Yeah, Coach. Right here. Obviously, Omar Spates comes in. What has he meant to you all as a defense and helping Harold Perkins, like you said, make that transition to the one?
Yeah, I love Omar's approach. The way he goes about and handles his business, the focus he comes in with, the attention to detail he has in his work. He's not the most vocal guy. He's more vocal on the field. But what he does do is he does a great job modeling to that whole room and to Harold.
Hey, Coach, about the jack position as well. I know there's some new faces, guys, transfers coming in, and freshmen as well. What do you got to say about that group and how they're really progressing right now?
Yeah, I'm encouraging the power and numbers in that group. I think right now you got 4 guys in the group that are really competing. Ovi's got a lot of experience, but we're happy with the development of Braden. We're happy with the development of Princeton. We're happy with the development of Jackson. Now, like I said, we got a long way to go. It's spring practice number 8. But those guys have shown growth and potential.
Matt, you might not, like you're kind of saying, be to this point yet, but when you start to look at all these defensive pieces, it seems like they can play different spots, especially on the front, and do a lot of different things. What do you sort of envision for this group in terms of having the multiplicity that you like to have in a defense?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And to be honest with you, you have to have that to be successful in this conference. You can't sit in one front and be successful. The offensive coordinators, the offensive line coach, and the offensive linemen are too good at running the football and too good at ID and protections. So it gives you a chance to be multiple in your alignments and multiple in your assignments, and gives you a chance to have matchups when you get into an obvious pass situation.
Do you feel like having Coach Jancic on the field gives you what you want as far as being able to teach those positions differently?
Yeah, I'm a big John Jancic fan. I love having JJ out there. He gives great energy. He's a great teacher. He's been successful in this league, both as a coordinator and as a position coach. He's definitely been an added value on the field.
So why is it important to have that position group coached differently and separately?
Yeah, because they have to do so many things, right? Where, for the most part, our defensive line, the interior, they're playing as part of the front all the time. That jack is a little bit different. We move him all over the place. He can be part of coverage. He can be part of the front. He can be an inside rusher. He can be an outside rusher. So although it's not the most difficult position to learn from an assignment standpoint, it's very important that you drill the technical aspect of that position.
Just with Harold, you get to spend as much time with him as anybody on the field. Just how have you seen him grow, not only as a player, but as a person here in year 2?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is he's got a better understanding of our process and how we prepare. And that's the biggest thing. His habits are much more consistent. And as I said last year, that hasn't changed. He just loves football. Really coachable.
I know Makai's not out there, but he was so important to what y'all did last year. What is his ceiling for growth, once he gets healthy?
Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for him to increase the mental part of his game, to learn more what offenses are doing, the finer techniques and fundamentals for how he can get an edge in his game, to learn to be a great student in the film room. So there's still value even though he's not on the field and getting physical reps.
Looks like Sage Ryan is getting a lot of first-team work, at least when we're out there, maybe ready to take that step here in year 3. What are you seeing from him right now in the spring in terms of where he's at?
Sage is getting more consistent in his work. There's no doubt about that. He's doing a better job playing the ball too, from a football standpoint. Still a lot of room for growth, but he's been more consistent.
Are there any of these mid-year enrollees, freshmen, that are going to be new in the fall to the field that you just can't figure out a way that they're not going to be on the field? Like, it's hard to keep them off?
I mean, that's the great thing about the way coach practices. And right now, I'm sure they're all swimming to an extent, but they're all getting valuable reps. Guys that have had a good spring so far. Jackson's had a good spring. Javion's had a good spring. I think in the last 3 practices, the light's kind of clicking a little bit for Witt. Things are slowing down for him a little bit. Ryan Yates, things are starting to slow down a little bit for him. And like I said, it's practice number 8. The true thing for these guys is they start learning, what we value, what our process is, what our traits of excellence are, and that way in the summer and in training camp they can apply those.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with the numbers being low on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, does it give you more concentrated work as a coach? Is there a plus to it?
Yeah, that's a great question. The way coach does our practice, I think it's a good mix between putting the ball down and learning to play the game and dividing up and having, whether it's half-line pass, half-line run, technique and fundamental work, where you're not putting a guy at risk with injury and overdoing their player load, but still teaching them how to play the game. So it's kind of part whole, if that makes sense. And, you may not be able to go out there and play a 100-play scrimmage, but you're still getting good live work along with practice work that develops you.
You've obviously got a completely rebuilt cornerback room at this point, but especially with Deuce out, do you kind of see this being something that's going to probably take into the preseason to really sort through who y'all want to lean on there? And just what do you make of the guys that you've got?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys heard this a little bit last year, and it's the same thing. Both as a staff and as players playing together, you got to learn how we communicate amongst ourselves, how they play. There's a little bit of you got to play snaps together, whether you're a corner, a safety, and then as coaches, it's a great opportunity for us to learn on the field what their true strengths and weaknesses are, so we can put them in better positions to succeed.
And that was Matt House, as he did a great job updating LSU spring football practice. Speaking of LSU, TigerBait.com's Mike Scarborough is set to join us. When we come back, we're going to go on a break here on the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio, and we're going to talk some more LSU with one of the best in the business. Stay with us here on this Thursday.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping experience for Alabama and Auburn fans. Located right here in Huntsville, come shop the best selection of officially licensed apparel, hats, Yeti, accessories, and gifts. Whether you're heading to the spring game or shopping graduation gifts or just love to show your school pride daily, come see us at Alumni Hall. University students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in store, and you can earn cash back with our Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Bridge Street Shopping Center, or shop anytime at alumnihall.com. TalkinBall.com. With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
What's the matter, honey? Can't sleep?
Ugh, it's this heartburn. At night, it's the worst.
Heartburn? Again?
Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm going to kick acid with Rolaids.
Rolaids Advanced goes to work instantly for powerful relief of your worst heartburn, bloating, and gas.
Feeling better?
Much better.
That was fast.
Mm-hmm.
Kick acid and gas with Rolaids Advanced.
Back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D-Squared, Drew DeArmond, and he's joined us on Talkin' Ball in the past. This will be his first time on the Recruiting Blitz. We're going to talk LSU for a few quick minutes. It's one of the best in the business. TigerBait.com publisher Mike Scarborough, and he's joining us right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mike, happy Easter to you and your family. Welcome to the show. How are you this morning?
Hey, doing good. Happy Easter to you guys as well.
Thank you, man. And I know you've been busy. You've covered a lot of parades at LSU. You covered some in baseball with what Skip did in the 90s and what, of course, Coach Maneri did in 09. And now we've seen three under three different head coaches in football. But Kim Mulkey, she comes back home, and only in year 2 she climbs the mountain to bring LSU a women's national championship. What was that parade like yesterday?
It was fun. Fun to cover. It's, if you would have told me 25 years ago, 26 years ago when I started in this business that one day I'd be covering women's basketball, and not only that to the degree that I have, and even covering women's basketball recruiting, I would have laughed at you. But as soon as we started getting wind that once they made a move on Nikki Fargas, that Kim Mulkey was a real possibility, and we covered that coaching search better than anybody. She's the difference. She's the game changer. I don't know that we'd be covering women's basketball at Tiger Bait had they hired anybody else but her. And what she's done in 2 years, of course, she readily admits it's the transfer portal is the difference, no doubt. But the excitement that she's bringing. I'm looking at the site statistics for our coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Her post-game press conference Sunday night after winning the title has like 260,000 views, and it's still adding about 2,000 an hour.
Wow.
And that's 4 days later. It's all our footage from the parade and the festivities last night, and even she's just been unbelievable. In fact, she's made our YouTube channel grow by about 4,000 subscribers in about 6 weeks.
Love that. And we're excited because one of her members of her staff she's brought in, G. Reedus. He's from our area. He's from Decatur here. I watched him play high school basketball. Of course, we know his dad, Gary Reedus, great Major League player, great member of our community as well. Meant a lot he coached at Calhoun Community College for many years, has been a fixture in youth baseball. But G is one of the top, he's talked about recruiting, he's one of the top young assistant coaches in the country,
If you watched my parade footage last night, then somebody had a better spot than me. I was on an island right in the middle of the street. and he threw me some beads. And
there you go.
He's already teasing some recruiting stuff that's going to happen today. But he is a big personality, and the recruits love him. And he's part of the reason why Angel Reese is in Baton Rouge and others.
No doubt, he's done a great job, and the future for LSU women's basketball is certainly bright, and it's not taken long.
I think Reed I think he could be on any staff at any level, men's or women's, and recruit at a high level, just because of his infectious personality.
Yes, he does. He definitely has a great personality. We're certainly proud of him. And I also, just before you came on, I had a chance. I was taking in Matt House and what he had to say. And I know LSU spring football is rolling on. Year 2 under Brian Kelly. Everybody excited to see what they do with Harold Perkins in year 2. He was by the middle of last season became such a disruptive force. I know Will Anderson got a ton of headlines the last 3 years, but this guy's going to kind of take the torch as maybe being the most talented defensive player in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, and is there a possibility that maybe he doesn't have the jaw-dropping highlight reels that he had last year because they're, really teaching him to be an inside linebacker?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to do some stuff with him where they also will move him around as a hybrid, but his natural position and where he needs to be is in the middle. So I don't know that he's going to have some crazy games like he had against Arkansas last year where he basically saved the day for LSU. But he's just unbelievable. And, you're talking about a kid it's reminiscent of another guy who was, most people I talked to that cover recruiting Texas believe he was the best running back coming out of high school 2 years ago in the state of Texas. And that's a similar vein of Devin White. We know what happened there, a guy who was a top running back and moved to linebacker.
Yeah, and he's already won a Super Bowl and, of course, helped LSU reach the top of college football as well. We're talking to Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. Mike, as far as LSU goes, though, give us a quick overview. Where are they standing? I know there's a lot of guys out, especially defensively injured, that won't be there until fall. But where is LSU right now on both sides of the ball?
The biggest issue they've got is offensive line.
Gotcha.
You had some guys that are out. Brian Kelly really had a lot of guys that either needed just minor stuff done to get joints cleaned out or shoulder surgeries. A lot of guys had off-season surgery immediately, and so they don't have a second offensive line group to be able to do 2s versus 1s, and he doesn't want to overwork his number 1 offensive line. The running back room come June will be overflowing. Right now, there's only 2 scholarship players out there participating. And so the access that we got from Brian Kelly last spring and fall was unprecedented. We would get full practices and be able to see scrimmages. Well, they're not going to scrimmage this spring. They can't. They can do some situational work. So they're scrambling at LSU right now to try and figure out what they're going to do for the spring game to meet the SEC network obligation. And I think LSU's probably like a lot of schools. It sounds like just from hearing, what some of the Hugh Freeze and others are saying, I think a lot of coaches are saying that they don't even want to do these spring games anymore. And I don't know what Saban is saying. I don't know what they're going to do. I suggest that they do a little bit of situational work, and then from then on, maybe they do some flag football. I don't know.
Yeah, or one of those where you give a point system for the offense and the defense, and you limit reps because, again, like you said, they don't have the numbers. They won't have the numbers until the fall. But certainly, and then of course, Jaden Daniels will be going into his second year as starter. Do you think he's firmly entrenched there, or is there going to be a competition, Mike?
I think the quarterback situation at LSU is no different than last season.
Gotcha.
Now we'll see if Jaden Daniels can go a whole season and be as durable as he was last year for a guy who's, I would love to know, early November, October, late November, what he actually weighed. For a guy who runs as much as he does and he's a tough kid, absolutely. But you've got a big faction here that want Nussmeier, and but I think Daniels is a difference maker, and I still am weary of Nussmeier and his, the interceptions that he throws out of so many passes is still a concern. But if he is the quarterback of the future, you need to get him into some games and get him to play more in 23 than he did last year. If he's going to be the number one guy in 24, they're going to have a hot shot quarterback coming in at midterm, but that's a true freshman. And so if Nussmeier doesn't move forward with his completion or touchdown to interception ratio, there's some scenarios out there that are left to be played out. Walker Howard, of course, transferred to Ole Miss. I think that's a huge loss. We're going to see what he does in Oxford. But is maybe next spring, the spring of 24, is that maybe going to be a deal where we're not talking about it now, but that could be a transfer portal quarterback scenario for LSU if Nussmeier doesn't show the coaches that he's beyond making poor decisions.
Well, I can tell you this. I know you said Walker Howard is a loss, but a guy I know you loved, and you got him back, and that's how the transfer portal is. They bounce back sometimes. I know they've got to be excited to bring Aaron Anderson back home.
Well, I don't know if I said it on your show, but anybody who's listened to our YouTube show knew that was the one recruit that I was lamenting to LSU fans that got away. And I know Frank Wilson just felt, man, if that kid wouldn't have been a midtermer, he could have held on to him. But they just didn't have time to forge a relationship, and he ended up at Alabama. That kid is a difference maker. But also he's another guy who's not participating this spring. And he had an injury issue at Alabama, had a little bit of ankle cleanup. So they'll see him in June. But if you watched LSU last year, you know that the return game was absolutely awful. I think he's an immediate help there. And having covered him in high school, and I'm the guy who was mocking all the recruiting networks who had him as a 3-star, and then, of course, he ended up being a 5. But then that just fed the whole Alabama bias thing, right, in the recruiting networks. As soon as he became flipped to Alabama, he became a 5-star, right? But in reality, that kid was a 5-star all along. It's just there's some idiots out there doing some rankings on some networks. I'll leave it at that.
I would completely agree with that. Some of it you just jaw-dropping when you see some of these kids on tape, no doubt about it. Well, quickly, too, Jay Johnson, you guys are all over the coverage at Tiger Bait, a #1 baseball program in the country right now. His second year, much like Kim Mulkey, he's going to try to get LSU baseball back to the top. They've gotten off to a strong start in conference play so far. Not Vanderbilt, not undefeated, but still top baseball program. Or the best baseball conference in the country. LSU off to a strong start.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we said in the off season with this team is that the only thing that could derail them is injury.
Yeah.
And now you've got Hurd with Shores with an injury. The injury bug is not helping LSU at all, and there's some people getting a little nervous here about the injuries to pitchers. So important series at South Carolina starting tonight and on the road, and LSU just continues to take 2 out of 3. But I think at some point, looking at what Kentucky and others are doing in the league, you can be #1 ranked in the country, but LSU's currently 5th in the standings.
Crazy.
Maybe you're going to have to sweep a few because of what we're seeing Kentucky and some others doing right now. It's crazy.
It really is. Well, you do a great job, man. Happy Easter to you and your family. Let everybody know how to connect with TigerBait.com because I love you guys' YouTube channel. The content's great. Just got through watching some of that. But let everybody know how to connect with you guys.
That's it, TigerBait.com. You can try us out for $1, our premium subscription, our YouTube channel. LSU Tigers on Tiger Bait's overflowing with free content. And you can follow me on Twitter at Scarborough Mike.
Thank you, man.
All right, Drew. Talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Mike Scarborough, one of the best in the business, talking some LSU. We're going to go on a break. We're going to come back and wrap up this Thursday edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. Stay with us.
The Blitz has been called.
Football season is here, and it's time to score big and get in on the action with MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is an industry-leading website and the best place for you to cash in on all the insane last-minute drives, huge upsets, and heart-pounding finishes. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus a user-friendly mobile site so you never miss a single play. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Come join MyBookie today. With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code RADIO to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-2387 or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. That's 844-900-BETS or go online to mybookie.ag and use promo code RADIO. Win with the best only at MyBookie. Sign up today.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
To celebrate the Olympic Games, Bridgestone is giving away prizes. You could instantly win a $10,000 Bridgestone Visa prepaid card and other great prizes every day when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Stop by Firestone Complete Auto Care today. No purchase necessary. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 and older. Limit 2 entries per person. Ends August 21st. For official rules and to enter without purchase, visit BridgestoneWin.com. Limit one $10,000 Visa prepaid card daily fulfilled by mail. Prizes awarded subject to verification. Visa prepaid card may be used anywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. Cards issued by the Bancorp Bank, member FDIC, under license from Visa USA Inc. Neither Bancorp Bank nor Visa USA Inc. are a sponsor of or affiliated with this promotion.
Napa know-how.
Smartphone speakers. They're about as effective as chopping firewood with a butter knife. A rusty, dull butter knife. So pick up a wireless Bluetooth speaker at Napa for just $26.99. With a rechargeable battery, 33-foot range, and rugged waterproof case, it does the one thing your phone is terrible at: play music. The Napa Bluetooth speaker, now just $26.99. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 8/31/16.
Welcome everyone back to the Recruiting Blitz on this Thursday. Big thanks to Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. We talked some LSU, a lot going on. Kim Mulkey wins their first ever women's national championship in basketball. Jay Johnson's got LSU #1 in the country in baseball, but like Mike said, the SEC is so tough, they're 5th in the Southeastern Conference standings. Spring football going into year 2, going strong for certainly Brian Kelly and Matt House. We heard from Matt House earlier in the show. Also heard from Darian Dalcourt and Ja'Cory Brooks from the University of Alabama. Because of the weather coming in later today, already some changes at Alabama. The South Carolina-Alabama softball game, Game 1, has been moved to 4 o'clock. The Alabama-Mississippi State baseball game, Steve Robertson was on with us on our sister station on 97.7 The Zone's Talking Ball. That game has been moved up to 5 o'clock due to inclement weather. We'll see how it affects Friday. And that'll probably be handled later in the day or into tonight. But, again, some weather coming in later this today. So please be by your radio dial on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. We'll let you know what's going on. You should be able to hear Alabama baseball tonight, and that game will be moving up to 5. So since it is probably not going to have any of the drive tonight because of baseball. So we will see. But it's moving up to 5 o'clock, so Steve Moulton and Wes Neighbors will be making adjustments with that. No question about it. That this just happened. So again, we want to thank our sponsors, Alumni Hall. Please visit alumnihall.com or go to the Bridge Street Town Center for any of your Alabama or Auburn needs. We appreciate their sponsorship. Don't forget later today, the Bandyman Bailey Lowry, Captain Cool, John Abraham, 2 to 4, the afternoon blitz. Everybody stay weather aware, stay dry, and we'll come to you to wrap up another week of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio with D Squared tomorrow at 9 a.m. Everybody have a great rest of your Thursday.
Today, it's a daily update on Bama Sports, and it's brought to you by CB&S Bank. Bank anywhere, at any time, with CB&S Bank's digital solutions. Managing your finances has never been so easy. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Here's Alabama softball head coach Patrick Murphy giving his thoughts on the Crimson Tide as Alabama prepares to play South Carolina Thursday through Saturday in Tuscaloosa.
Well, I think you got to start with Montana. Like you said, National Pitcher of the Week again. It's the second time this year. She pitched 9 innings and 7 innings of shutout ball against a pretty good hitting team. And the conditions were not favorable at all for softball. It was windy and cold, and kudos to her, to Lance, to Allie Shipman for the great job catching. And, like you said, we had enough clutch hitting in the 2 games that pulled us through. I thought our team defense was pretty good all weekend long. And then Sunday, we just kind of ran into a buzzsaw because they were due for one of those, and we were probably due for the other side of it. So, but on the road, taking a series, I'll take it any day.
I'll have more in a moment.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations. You could say we know a thing or two about tradition. We've been family, community, and financially strong since we began in 1906. Being a team player is part of our culture. That's why at CB&S Bank, we're proud to sponsor the University of Alabama Athletics and prouder to take the field or court with you. Visit cbsbank.com today. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Join us today at 2 p.m. Central for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We'll be streaming live from Sewell Thomas Stadium for this weekly talk show on the Crimson Tide, available on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by CB&S Bank. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.